You or someone you know has just been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and you want to spread some awareness. But you keep asking yourself, why is it so hard to do? Hi, it's David from Life with Parkinson's. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you'll consider subscribing. Everyone else, thank you for your continued love and support. Increasing awareness about Parkinson's disease is a very important thing to do. And I think all of us should be trying to increase awareness a little bit. But what I have found there are just some roadblocks that seem to get in the way of doing that. And today we're going to look at 3 things that I believe make spreading awareness a little bit harder to do. We're going to look at personal awareness, corporate awareness, and unified awareness. Near the end of the video, I'm going to talk about someone who is spreading awareness with unstoppable energy. So stick around for that. You'll definitely want to see that part. We have a lot of challenging information to get to today, so let's get right to it. I'm done with so-and-so, you say to your spouse or care person as you struggle through the front door, each step getting harder to take as you begin to go off. Your words begin to slur into each other as you explain to your spouse or care person what happened, and you collapse onto the bench or chair to try and get your shoes off. But it's become impossible now because the tremors have taken over. Your spouse or care person nods in agreement as you explain what your best friend said that caused you to never want to see them again. Incredibly hurtful things, but did they actually understand? Also, your care person begins to see their break every couple of weeks for a few hours disappear as well, as that was the one time they looked forward to you getting out of the house for a few hours. Has something like this ever happened to you? Unfortunately, it's happened to me. And what it is a doorway into Parkinson's awareness slowly beginning to shut permanently forever. Because when you think about it, how many people go through a coffee shop every day? And that is a large number of people that can be reached with Parkinson's awareness every couple of weeks when the friends are out for a coffee. Creating awareness on a personal level can take many different forms. And it doesn't need to be a seminar. It doesn't even need to be watching a YouTube video. It's just sharing about yourself with another person. And if you think about it, if others can't understand how our disease impacts us, how can we create awareness at all? But I get it. I understand. Being vulnerable and open and present on a personal level is so difficult. There's such a fear of rejection. There's such a fear of being rejected because of our illness. I know how it feels. It often requires us to leave the comfort, shelter, and safety of our own home and venture into the unknown world of the public. Somewhere potentially some of us haven't been for a couple weeks. My wife Haley does all the shopping lately, so I don't get to the grocery store as much as I used to anymore. And sometimes I'm like, I wonder if I'm leaving it out too long. Maybe I should go on one of those trips soon before I forget what it's like to go to the grocery store or get too scared of it. And I think the question that leads to more so for me is, how do I connect with people without being a burden? And it's amazing, after all these years, I'm still asking that question. It's not like Parkinson's disease is my family's first rodeo. My wife's had painful endometriosis for over 30 years. My daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when she was very young. And now that I've got Parkinson's, it's like we should be experts at sharing our lives. But the problem is that when we do, sometimes we run into problems. Like there was this one time, Haley and I went to counseling at Women's Hospital and part of it was counseling for the endometriosis. And the counselor asked us to share our lives with her, and then she ended up crying because she was so overwhelmed by the pain and suffering that we had been through. Needless to say, we led the counseling that session and didn't go back. And then there was another time we went to see a different specialist, nothing to do with Parkinson's or anything. But then the specialist looks at me, and this is shortly after I've been diagnosed. Doesn't look like you have Parkinson's. Well, needless to say, we didn't go back there as well. And the other problem is that the people at the other end of the table, are they ready and are they willing to listen to our story? Are they able to accept the pain that we're going to share with them? Because if they're not prepared, it can turn into a very uncomfortable situation, and it's one you need to be prepared with and hopefully have a care person with you ahead of time. What if what we share triggers a memory with them, a very painful memory, and they're just like, I gotta get out of here. I feel there's a big misconception about Parkinson's disease. I really feel that a lot of people, unfortunately, believe that it's only identifiable by tremors. And I don't think a lot of people know and understand the complexity of it, that it's a motor illness and a non-motor illness. And when you read definitions of it in the medical dictionaries and things, a lot of time it's identified as a movement disorder that's possible to have non-motor symptoms. I think it really needs to be changed. I think that's a big misconception. I think it needs to be, it's a motor illness and a non-motor illness, and they're equal. And I believe that would clear up a lot of confusion out in the world right now. And when we're sharing that with people, I think we need to keep our expectations low of how it's going to turn out. Because if we have our expectations too high, we set ourselves up for failure and rejection. And if things don't go as we hoped or planned, that's when we get upset and withdraw back into our homes. Looking out the front door, is anybody out there? No! Okay, I can run the garbage cans out now. Okay, let's talk about corporate awareness a little bit. And this just involves large organizations in the Parkinson's world. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing large organizations. We need them. I know we do. They have great websites. They pass on amazing information. They have good fundraisers that we can join and be part of something bigger than ourselves. They create so many opportunities and research for Parkinson's. It's just, we'd be lost without them. But the issue here is that as a person with Parkinson's, do we really understand what the large organizations are doing and what they're meant to do and what they're able to do, right? They have their own set of guidelines that they follow, and sometimes they don't line up with what we want them to do. On this channel, we talked about a little while ago about a book I was reviewing called Ending Parkinson's Disease, and they also talked about it as well, where funding for research is down in the Parkinson's world. It's not keeping up with other illnesses. Parkinson's treatments aren't keeping up with our other illnesses. Advancements in Parkinson's treatments aren't keeping up as well. It's been 50 years or so since we had our gold standard medication created, and there's really been nothing since then to move us on to the next step. And sometimes in the Parkinson's world, it feels like as a person with Parkinson's, we're left out of medical advancements unless it's making people a boatload of money. So I think there's a lot of disparity between our agendas, right? And agenda has a lot of negative connotations to it, and I'm not trying to be negative, but the corporate world or the large organizations have their agenda, and we have our agenda. And I think our agenda, I'm not speaking for everybody, but I think my agenda is that I'm fueled by a quiet desperation for anything that will help my Parkinson's symptoms. So I think our goals don't really line up a lot, and I think that creates the frustrations with the Parkinson's awareness. When I was writing the first outline for this video, I'm like, who can I contact in my Parkinson's circle of friends who has really got their hand on the heartbeat of awareness creation? And I'm like, George from Together for Sharon. If you haven't met George, and I'm just showing you the family's website that they put up for his mother, just in memory of his mother, because she died from complications of Parkinson's disease. He's just got unstoppable energy and enthusiasm for creating awareness, writing books, meeting people, collecting interviews. So I encourage you to check out a couple of his interviews. There's one with me I'm just showing you here as well. And I asked him, hey, can you suggest a couple issues about awareness? What have you seen? And his answer was that we don't really unify our voices. We're not all speaking the same thing at the same time. And he thinks that's one of the things that has really stalled Parkinson's awareness. So if all the people with Parkinson's and all the organizations all unified and were speaking the same language and the same terminology with the same amount of volume, then there would be a real opportunity for change. But until that happens, we're going to kind of be stuck in this place. And that's really kind of the same thing the book I reviewed a little while ago was talking about as well. Their thought was more, at this point in time, is a cure the best thing? So there needs to be more unification, more communication, and more sharing, and just coming to a consensus of what is the best thing for Parkinson's disease. What is the best thing that we can hope for? What is the best way to move forward together as a unified voice? I encourage you to look more into the work that George is doing and pass on information about him to other people as well. I am very grateful for his work and for his friendship. Thank you for continuing to take this journey together. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing this video with your family and friends. Please leave a comment or a question below. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good day. Goodbye.